Hello, everyone. On 18th of January, Pluto and the Sun are going to be exactly conjunct. When a planet is exactly conjunct the Sun, we call this a Kazimi conjunction. And this is an Arabic term. It means that the other planet is at the heart, within the heart of our daylight luminary. Who is Pluto? If you look at the Roman figure, or if you look at its Greek counterpart, Hades, then you realize that they are both the brothers of Zeus, Jupiter. And when Zeus reaches his power, he gives his brothers certain territories. He is reigning from the Mount Olympus, but he gives the waters, the seas or oceans to Poseidon, Neptune, and the underworld to Hades, Pluto. What is Pluto in the natal chart? We link power and transformation to the Lord of Underworld. And it's quite interesting that it was discovered in 1930 and demoted, relegated to dwarf planet status in 2006. So it actually was only a planet for 76 years. But the fact remains that in karmic astrology, Pluto is very important. And as an archetype, it signifies the true power behind the apparent power. So it's someone who is really making the things happen. If you look at what is happening to Biden at the moment, President Biden in the United States, you can see how he was built up by the powers that be, by the Plutonian powers behind him, and now how he is being discarded, because this is exactly what you're seeing. And at the same time, if you look around, it's so blatantly, inherently dishonest what is happening in politics, both in the United States and in the European Union. That you just stand and watch, and you don't understand why this is happening. Anyhow, whenever there's a Sun conjunction to an outer planet, but actually not even outer planet, any planet, the Sun infuses this planet with energy, consciousness, and it gives an extra boost and extra radiation. So let's take a look and see what we can, how we can delineate the chart itself. This is for London, so the exact to the minute conjunction of Sun and Pluto is happening on January 18th at 14:45. As I said, this is the London chart. There are quite a few things occurring. First of all, the Sun-Pluto conjunction is making an almost exact trine to Sedna, creation through dissection. And the exact aspect will occur, I believe, in March, but it is already within a degree, so it's very, very tight already. Retrograde Pallas Athena is rising on the London ascendant, showing that we need wisdom and we will find it in ourselves. On the IC, you have trans-Pluto. We need to have a dimension jump in order to understand things and in order to keep our home somehow safe or intact. Well, it's not going to happen because the powers that be want us to become impoverished completely. And on the descendant, you have a stationary Mercury. Mercury will turn direct the next day on the 19th. We are going to look at that chart as well, a noon chart really, so it's not going to be any special, but there will be some differences. Also, you have, or we have rather, if you look at the Juno-Jupiter conjunction, if you saw my video 2 to 3 days ago about Jupiter and Juno, the marriage made in heaven, you can see, as I told you, that Juno will be applying to an exact conjunction to Jupiter. It's not going to happen until the new moon, but 3 days earlier, they are already quite tightly conjunct. And there's a triple conjunction involving Vesta, the focusing principle, Neptune, the planet of universal love, transcendence, and esoteric knowledge, and Astrea, the karma breaker. If you take a good look, Neptune and Astrea are exactly conjunct, and Vesta is coming up to the Neptune-Vesta conjunction, to the Neptune conjunction, but the Vesta-Astrea is going to be quite tight for quite a while, for months actually. So these two asteroids will travel together. And it is fascinating because that's exactly what we need to do. We need to focus on our karma breaking and destiny changing abilities. And with Neptune, we need faith as well. I think that's it. You can see that I showed here that actually there is an Earth Grand Trine. It's a bit wide to my taste, but we're going to look at it anyway. As you see, as you may remember, I accept only a 2 degree O for, it's a little bit more than 2 degrees actually. Anyhow, so this is the Grand Trine, and not too many things are there when we look at the transcendental celestial objects. What is a Grand Trine? A Grand Trine combines 3 trines at exactly the same or roughly the same degree, within 2 degrees, of course, and it provides a beautiful harmonious energy pattern. The problem is that even one trine is quite lazy and there's not too much energy within it, but 3 times are even less. So it's an even lazier pattern. So nothing is actually happening for most of the time, but out of the 4 elements, the Earth Grand Trine could be utilized the easiest way. So you can actually have some sort of production with it, if possible. Well, the Sedna Pluto trine is this year's main karmic astrological feature. It is quite rare. And of course, Pluto is the planet of transformation, and Sedna is creation through dissection. Sedna describes the ability to look at your life, distinguish the non-working segments of it, take them out of your whole scheme, and either replace them with working potentials or just rearrange your whole life in a workable thing, into a workable thing. And then Pluto, of course, is power and transformation. And this is the exact moment of the Pluto-Sun cazimi. If you take a look at the timeline, because the cazimi is 17 minutes of an arc, it means that the Pluto, any Sun and other planet cazimi lasts at least for half a day. So before and after exactness, there's half a day when it's still valid. And there are a couple of interesting transcendental objects. Actually, on the Sun Pluto, you have 3 asteroids and 1 centaur. The centaur here is Amicus. Now, Pluto has been traveling and will be traveling with Amicus this year and has been last year as well. And Amicus is a centaur who doesn't care for anything sacred. There's a big fight, and he dashes into a sanctuary and grabs a candelabra and starts fighting with it. So it's the mixing of the sacred and the profane, and the idea that I don't care. And this is exactly what you see in the world leaders, who are no longer leaders. These are technocrats. But what I keep telling you is, if you look at the European Committee, also the European Parliament, where there's this huge scandal, and they don't even realize how big it is, and they try to hush it, and they try to call it the Qatar Gate. And I know this is a Brussels gate. Okay, this is their corruption. This is their dishonesty, and also the same is happening everywhere. So these people who are leading us are no longer true statesmen and stateswomen. They are just bureaucrats. No wonder that the American government is not called government, it's called an administration, because they are administering whatever they are being told. And so besides amicus, which is the dishonesty and the misuse of sacred objects, you have Shiva, which is the love goddess of the Slavonic people. So it is actually, it's actually a Venusian figure, love and money. And there's Adonis, the beautiful youth who is the lover of Venus, and Pythagoras, the mathematician who is also the father of numerology. That's on Amicus. And on Sedna, you have Moira, so the goddesses of fate. That's on the Grand Trine. There's also a very interesting complex planetary picture, and this is what I'm going to show you now. If we take the 10 degrees, and as you can see, the London chart has the ascendant at 10 degrees Cancer, and the nodes are also at 10 degrees. So actually, if we take this 10 degrees as the measurement, then anything from 8.5, till 11.5 will be forming some sort of planetary picture. First of all, here you have a mystic rectangle between the ascendant, descendant, and the nodal axis, denoting that this is a fated but beautiful moment in time where you yourself, because the ascendant represents you in your physical body and also your life path, and the nodal axis, your destiny choices are in harmony. And if you take a good look, then you see that Chiron, which is on the other side of the orb, because it's at almost 12 degrees, is making a cardinal T-square to the ascendant descendant. It is something like, this is the moment in time where you need to understand what is happening to you and who is your enemy. And you need to understand it in a conscious way, because Mercury is also on the descendant. This Mercury is still stationary. I didn't put the S here, but you should remember that it is stationary. There are two fingers of fate which don't become boomerangs simply because the opposition between the moon and Mars is quite wide. Mars is around 8 degrees and something, and the moon is around 12 degrees. So this is a 4 degree orb. The opposition is there, but the semi-sextiles to close the fingers of fate, or the boomerangs, are not there, but there are fingers of fate. One is between the ascendant, the north node, and the moon. So the apex is the moon, denoting that it is about your own soul, your spiritual essence, looking at your own self and your destiny choice. And the other one at the apex of which is Mars is also including the descendant Mercury and the south node. So with your will, you can actually move around what you want to decide and how you learn from the past, south node. So that's the complex planetary picture. There are some transcendental objects. The moon is conjunct Beta Draco. The whole constellation of Draco is about the celestial dragon who is guarding some sort of treasure. It's usually spiritual treasure, but it's also within orb of the great attractor, which is denotes a karmic dilemma of fate and free will, with these galactic points and supermassive black holes. I allow a 2 degree orb either side. And since the great attractor is at 14 degrees Sagittarius, anything between 12 and 16 degrees will be there. On the ascendant, you have Alhina, which is Gamma Gemini, a quite bright star. Alhina is a part of a zodiacal constellation, Gemini, but also on the Milky Way, because it's the foot of the celestial twins, and it's the crossroads between the divine and the human. And it means that whenever you have this star prominent, it gives you a determination to do what you need to do to tread on your own path. On Mercury, you have two centaurs, Quaoar and Pholus. Quaoar is actually a TNO. It's creation through you through dance and movement and singing. So it's like creation through your own abilities. It's a beautiful centaur. And Pholus denotes the buck stops here. And actually, this is the space-time moment with stationary Mercury, when people may realize that, yes, the buck stops here. There's no way I'm going to continue the way we are pushed to continue. On Mars, you have Gawain and Achilles, two fighters. One who is a lord, who is a knight, in shining armor, and Achilles, the great hero. On Chiron, you have Laila Kuhona, the mythical bird of the Hawaiians, who is flying back to its nest. And this describes the soul's longing for the earth plane, for coming again and come into a physical body. And Alderamin, which is Alpha Cepheus, I talked to you about it a couple of times, so I'm not going to tell you, but it's the Andromeda Cassiopeia story. He's the old king who is trying to do his best for his land, but the women in his family are not really allowing him to proceed in a nice way. On the north node, you have Patience, Paciencia, the goddess of patience, and Albion, another dissecting entity, but it means that in order to create something new, you might have to dissect yourself and create new aspects of yourself. So it's actually a self-creating ability. And then the south node, you have Xerxes, another general. And on the 19th, Mercury is turning direct, and not too many things are happening. I chose the space-time moment of noon. So we are not going to look at this in detail. I just wanted to show you that, yes, on the 19th, we already have only Uranus retrograde out of the known planets, and some of the asteroids which are not that important. And soon Uranus is also going direct, and then everything is moving forward. And as you can see, the Juno-Jupiter conjunction is ever tightening. It will be almost exact by the 21st, the new moon, which actually is going to be a brilliant new moon. I'm going to make a video on this as well, because it is completely star-studded, the whole chart. Everything except for Jupiter will have a fixed star placement as well. The new moon itself is at Aquarius 1.5 degrees on Altair, Alpha Aquila, a brilliant, beautiful shamanic star. It's coming. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.